Hello, you beautiful people. I'm Mizzz Sally Pryde. That's with 3 Z's and Y because why not? And in this video, I'm going to be taking a test to see if I'm actually autistic. I was formally diagnosed as autistic when I was 8 years old. I just want to preface this by saying you do not need a formal diagnosis to know that you are autistic, especially for people of color and those who do not present as male. Not to mention that the diagnostic criteria was based on young boys in Nazi Germany, and if you want to hear more about that, watch the video I made about that. It's really interesting. So I'm taking this test through Clinical Partners. Question 1, I prefer to do things on my own rather than with others. It really depends who I'm working with. I've worked with too many bad people, so I'm going to say slightly disagree here because I've been burnt too many times. Question 2, I prefer to do things the same way. For instance, my morning routine or the trip to the supermarket. So for me, I keep a pretty rigid schedule. Let's get this video up to 15 likes and I'll talk about my schedule and how I do that as an autistic drag queen. Anyway, so I do keep a very rigid schedule and stuff like that because I just have to or else things are not going to be done. So definitely agree. Question 3, I find myself becoming strongly absorbed in something, even obsessional. Yes. Definitely agree. I mean, look at me. Question 4. I am very sensitive to noise and will often wear earplugs or cover my ears in certain situations. So I do carry a pair of noise-canceling headphones with me, and I use them whenever I need them, but I don't use them all the time, so I'm going to say slightly agree. Question 5. Sometimes people say I am rude, even though I think I am being polite. I'm going to say definitely agree. This has happened to me way too many times. Question 6. I find it easy to imagine what other characters in books look like. No, I can't. When I read a book, characters are just sort of amorphous blobs to me. Definitely disagree. Question 7. I find it easy to talk in groups of people. So for me, the answer here is definitely disagree. I'm pretty good with one-on-one conversation, but when you get more of that, I just can't keep track. Question 8, I am more interested in finding about things than people. So, for me, it's sort of a mix of the two, so I'm going to say slightly disagree. It just depends on what I'm looking at. So, like, it could be about an interesting person, not interesting person, interesting thing, not so interesting thing, so. Question 9, I find numbers, dates, and strings of information very fascinating. Definitely agree. When I'm making these videos, I do a lot of data analytics behind the scenes to make sure that, see what works and what doesn't work, so definitely agree. Question 10. I prefer nonfiction books and films to fiction. It's sort of a mix for me, but I definitely sort of have a fiction bend, so I'm going to say slightly disagree. Question 11. I find it upsetting when my daily routine is upset or changed. Yes, strongly agree. That's because I keep a very rigid schedule for this reason. This is actually my 3rd time recording this video because the microphone wouldn't work, and it's very frustrating. Question 12. It's difficult for me to understand other people's facial expressions or body language. I can't actually do this. I can tell if you're smiling, but I don't know if your smile is sincere, so I'm going to say strongly agree. But there's a workaround I have here, and it may sound a little strange. Since I can't understand people's faces or tone of voice, I'll just say, hey, how are you feeling? And if they're answering honestly, then I go into empathy mode. And I'm a very empathetic person. Just as a little anecdote here, once my friend's aunt died, honestly, I cried that weekend more than her, and I had never even met her aunt. Question 13, I don't have any problems making small talk with new people. I can do the sort of elevator chat, but really that's about it, so I'm going to say slightly disagree. Question 14, I notice small changes in person's appearance. Honestly, not that much. Slightly disagree. Question 15, when I was young, I used to play lots of pretend or imaginary games. So I actually made a video about what games I played as a child being autistic. And I went from reading on my own to playing blackjacks with other kids, so I'm going to say strongly disagree here. Question 16, I like collecting information about things I'm interested in. Strongly agree. So, yeah, that's pretty clear for me. Question 18. People close to me say I talk about the same things repeatedly. Definitely agree. Question 19. I find it easy to work out what other people are thinking or feeling just by looking at their facial expressions. As I already said, strongly disagree. Question 20. New situations make me feel anxious. Yes, definitely agree. It's important for me to carefully plan out any activities I'm going to do. Yes, in fact, it took months to prepare these videos. And If you think that sounds, and if you want to show appreciation for that, I would really like if you subscribed. And I put a lot of work into these, so, like, again, like, it really means a lot. So definitely agree. Question 22. I find it hard to work out what other people's intentions are. For this, I'm going to say slightly agree. And the reason is, I can't really do it from facial expressions or tone of voice, but if you explain the situation to me, I'm usually right. I'm going to say slightly disagree. Question 23. I find it really hard to play imaginary games with children. Yeah, even to this day, that still seems really challenging. Don't tell the bigoted lawmakers I said that, though. So definitely agree. Question 24. I'm a good diplomat and can often ease social or work situations. So I'm going to say slightly agree, because I can do this pretty well, so long as people listen. Question 25. I'm often the last person to understand a joke. Most people consider jokes aren't actually jokes. They're just making fun of someone. I don't think most people know what a joke is, so I'm going to say slightly agree here, because, again, the way people define jokes is really weird. Question 26. I do things spontaneously. Definitely not strongly disagree. Again, these videos take me months to put together, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It really means a lot to me. Question 27. If I'm interrupted doing something, I find it hard to get back to what I'm doing beforehand. In short bursts, I'm fine, but in longer bursts, no. So, like when I'm filming, these are a lot of stuff I cut out. Like the neighbors being noisy and playing loud music, because I don't want to get a copyright strike or ruin the audio, so I can sort of hop back into it. You would be surprised. These videos often take me an hour plus to record, simply because there's so much noise and stuff in there and I'm working around that. So slightly disagree. Question 28. I notice patterns and things all the time. Strongly agree. As I've said, I do a lot of data for this channel, so that makes sense. However, I didn't know I was trans for a long time and there were really obvious clues. So I'm gonna say slightly agree, actually. Question 29. I have some very strong interests and get upset when I can't pursue them. Yes. Whenever I have to go on, stop and pause doing drag, it really just upsets me. If I could, I'd do this all the time. So, help me grow the channel, and that could be a reality. Definitely agree. Question 30. I can tell if someone I'm talking to is getting bored. So, definitely disagree, because, again, face and stuff like that. And my results, I got a 23. I'm most likely autistic. However, I kind of already knew that. So anything between a 20 and a 30 is considered most likely autistic. So, and I'm a 23, so you know. If you like this video, again, like it, subscribe, leave a respectful comment, and I've attached a link at the end of this video if you want to see more of my autism videos. So, thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye.